All right. My plan is to keep this video short and sweet because there's lots of other videos to watch this week. But it's a really super interesting topic. We're going to talk about the web, like a web of string. I saw such a cool analogy. If I could figure out how to do it online with you guys, I totally would. It had to do with string and connecting people and all sorts of really interesting things. However, let me just show you a couple of things on our website so you know where to start, you know where to go. And then I'm just going to let you get to it because we have uh, some Zoom chats this week and some interesting things to talk about. So week 5 is now open. And when you go there, of course, start with the checklist. Always start with the checklist. I can tell when people don't look at the checklist because they don't know how things are connected and they ask lots of weird questions. Like, I don't mind questions, but I'd rather you start with the checklist. So we're going to look at in our think topic, and if you can watch these before Zoom, that'll be super helpful to you. There's 2 videos, one of which kind of shows the negative side and the other which shows a more positive thing that you can do about the internet. And they both talk about trolling and fake news and misinformation and lots of things, but they take a little bit of a different approach. So I think you'll find those interesting. And then I broke up our learn into 3 sections this week, just to make it a little bit easier to track what's going on. So under the fake news section, there's actually on the checklist, the slides that I use, there's a link to those. So if you go to the checklist, you can pull the slides up and take a deeper look at those. Anyhow, I split the lecture into 2 parts. The first part gives you some examples. Not everything is what it looks like it is. Okay, and so we're going to talk about that. I'll give you some examples. The second part goes into a little more detail. Well, I start off about how to do a Google image search just for reference, but then I give a case study of what I actually do when I see something or suspect something is false online and some steps you can take to verify the information. Honestly, it doesn't take that terribly long. This next section, learning about the World Wide Web. I made a short video, the internet versus the World Wide Web, because most people don't know the difference. And this week, we're looking at Unit 4, which is all about the web. And so I put the PDF up. I only have the PDFs of the first 5 chapters. So we did chapter 5 last time, or a couple weeks ago. This week, we're doing chapter 4, and next week, we're doing chapter 1. But if you don't have the book by now, you really need to let me know. And then coming down here, learning to use email, that's a big part of the web. And there's some things in the video that I made, the email basics video, that really gets into some detail, first of all, about how it all works, because it's almost like magic, like you hit send, boom, it shows up somewhere else. But actually quite a lot happens in there. And so I describe that in some detail. But then I also talk about like how not to get scammed on the web and through your email, because lots of people do. This next link is to the GCF Learn tutorials on the email basics. And even if you think you know everything there is to know, scan the list, scan the table of contents on those. You'll probably find a thing or two that you weren't familiar with, or some tips to help you be more productive or efficient with your email. Maybe how to organize your email. There's lots of good stuff there. And then down here, we've got our Zoom discussion topics. And so we'll talk about those this week, starting on Tuesday and Wednesday. And then another Let's Tweet assignment. We're just going to keep rolling with those, the same sort of thing. You're getting into the hang of that. I'm really having fun reading through your tweets. But then we're going to play a game. And this game is called Spot the Troll. So I'm going to show it to you first, and then I'm going to show you how to submit it. So I just jumped over. There's a link to this on the assignment, but this is from Clemson University, and I'll just go through one just to give you an idea. So this game gives you 8 profiles, and you can read the about, you can read the resource list, if you want. But let's go to the first profile. So you click on the first profile. This is a Twitter profile, and you have to figure out, is this legit or is this fake? And so you're going to read through all of her posts, all of her tweets on here. And then what you have to do is decide, is this a troll or is this legit? And when you make a choice, should I give you this one? Okay, I'll give you this one. I'm going to say it's a troll. Correct. And it tells you why this is a troll account. And then you continue on to the signs. And what it does is it actually describes why some of these elements are tip-offs to this being a troll account. Okay. And if you want, you can read the full analysis for each of these 8 profiles. It'll really go into detail for each and every post that it shows you. So I think this is really um, a very good game. It's going to heighten your awareness quite a bit. So as you're going through, pay attention to some of the things it says, like do things surprise you? Did you learn something? You know, what can you use from this to actually be a little more savvy with your internet browsing? When you get all done, when you do it all, and I just kind of ran through it once, so I didn't do very well, but it'll give you some results, and you need to take a screenshot of this. If you know how to use a screenshot on your phone, you can do that. I'll put a link to a GCF Learn tutorial on how to do screenshots. I'll post that on the checklist, not necessarily on the, we have a lot of links on Moodle. So I'll just put it on the checklist for you. Or you can take a picture with your camera, you know, whatever you need. It's because when you come back over here, let's go back down here to our assignment, play Spot the Troll. So it's going to give you all that information, all the good information that you need, what to do. And then there's some questions here. And then it says for credit, you have to do 2 things. You need that screenshot and you need to respond to the questions. So I always recommend you respond to the questions in a Google Doc or someplace else like a text editor so you can check it. And once you have that, click on Add Submission, go back down, and you'll see 2 things. Right here, you can drag and drop your file for the screenshot. You can drop it in, or you can click on here and it will let you browse, which I'm not going to do right now. And then up here, you type your answers to your questions. Okay. So give me full sentences if you want full credit for this. You have to give me full thoughts and help me really understand what you think and what you learned from this experience, and then save changes. Once you've done that, you can see the file that you uploaded and it will show you. And so if you can see it, I'll be able to see it. So let's go back to our week. That's pretty much it. Make sure you check the checklist, try to read the Think or watch the Think videos. There are a lot of videos this week. Oh, one thing I wanted to show you. Let me click on one of these TED Talks. I'm going to open it in its own window. I don't know if you saw what I did there. Let me do that again. When you open one of the resources, frequently there is an icon up here in Moodle, which means that you can open it in its own window. So let's go back to that. So one of the things I like about a lot of the TED Talks, because I don't know about you, but I like to read stuff sometimes, is the transcript. And you can get the transcript in a bunch of different languages, but you know, I like to read English. And so you can go down and read through the transcript. Let me open this window a little more so it's easier. And I think it kind of scrolls through the transcript as you're listening to the video. So for those of you that like to read, that's a really good resource. Let me show you one more trick. Let me find a YouTube video. Let's see. Let's do this one. Okay. And I have to start this to show you. But again, if you like using, or if you like reading stuff and you see a CC, I'm going to mute that, and you see a CC, if you click on that, you notice the closed captions that comes up. Now, in any of the videos I make, immediately, like if you look at the video right after I upload it, you won't see that. But once you see the CC, you can click on that, and YouTube does an automatic translation. It's not 100% perfect, but it's pretty good. And so that is one way that you can read along. I watch movies with subtitles all the time, so you might like that too. Anyhow, I hope that you find this a really interesting week. I'm looking forward to our Zoom chats because we're going to talk about fake news. Make sure you read the Think sections from last week's checklist and from this week's checklist, because we're going to talk about all those questions and we're going to have some really interesting conversations.